Nice to see. I said that. Recording in progress. I want to welcome everyone in studio. Thanks for coming and making it. We have a nice, not cozy because it's COVID. We have a nice, relaxed, open space with lots of room between people. You're welcome to sign in for an online class, but there's usually a wait list, so it looks like we're doing well tonight. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. Who else do we have here? Hi, Suk. Hello, Gopika. And Nikita, so nice to see you. Nice to see you from... Where are you, Nikita? You can unmute.
I'm still in Ukraine.
In Ukraine. Okay, good. I think I'm about to do a training. Am I right?
Yeah, there should be one.
Yeah, and what's the time in the Ukraine, just so we can see your level of commitment?
2:30 a.m.
That's stunning. Welcome. Everyone say hi to Ukraine. Nikita, good. And I see Sydney. Wow, it's really nice to see you. And Anna Mac, hi. And Alexandria, hi Zoe. Hey Santi and Sherry. Oh, Hannibal. It's so nice. I just want to say your names because I'm very happy to see you. Zach, Maya. Wow, so nice to see so many of you. And of course, all of you. I'm really quite blinded, so I hope that you could see me. I want to welcome special teachers that teach on Thursday night. Sarah Blackburn and Earl Burney. Yeah. They have a killer class on Thursday. How many more Thursdays for this series do you have? That's it? So yeah, 21 more classes, and the first third is finishing next Thursday, this Thursday, and it's...
If you go Thursday, it's equal to the other.
If you go to their Thursday night class, you could say you took their entire first third of their course. Is it a review or
We're going to summarize it so well.
Yeah.
For the whole thing.
Nice. But for those of you that I haven't met or haven't been able to say your names, and I don't know why I am highlighted as a big head on my screen, my name is Hector Marcel. You are at 3 Joules, and I just want to, if you've heard it before, then sorry, you're going to have to hear it again because there's usually a few new people. Oh, hi Gabriel, nice to see you. Hi Melissa, nice to see you. My name is Hector Marcel. I was born when I was really young. There's always one that laughs, right? Everyone else hates that joke. But I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's been 20 years of that joke. I'm still milking it. But I was born in Argentina. So I'm going to invite you, for the theme of today is about understanding who we are. I want to talk about practice and how it really, really relates to who the hell you think you are. Yeah? Who the hell do you think you are? That might be the name of tonight. I want to talk about practice, about unraveling our identity with some kind of wisdom. Yeah? It looks good on Instagram, but it feels like scraping your face on the concrete for a long time. And you want to do it more. Right? So it's not that it's a damage, it's like a clearing. It's like... So I want to see if I can get to talk about that and answer a bunch of really good questions that came in from the last few classes. Before I get there, I want to say, I'm Hector. I was born in Argentina. So I invite you to imagine whatever story you've got about this image of this person that is in front of you. This is not my native language. This is not my culture. But I learned how to think in Western style, in English-speaking language. In fact, you can hear my Australian accent, hopefully, or South African. Some people in Australia think I'm South African. But I've learned to think that way, maybe because I got there at the age of 10, and although it felt hard to be a child of a migrant in another place, I didn't know it was preparing me to be able to transform more when I needed. Yeah. Later on, I went traveling the world. I ended up getting stuck in New York, and I had the most incredible life crises, like where everything goes wrong, in my 20s. And it was at that time that I bumped into this place that you just landed at called 3 Joules. 3 Joules was on 5th Street, and it was this tiny place run by early Western Buddhists trained by old Tibetan monks who had escaped Tibet when China and Tibet had their thing in the late 50s, walked over the Himalayas and ended up in New Jersey teaching a group of migrant Mongols there. And thanks to that, my teacher was like the first American to graduate from a Tibetan monastery. And then he brought all that information to New York. And at Three Jewels, when I bumped into it in the 90s, him and a crew of people were translating those Tibetan and Sanskrit texts into English language. Lucky for me, kid in poverty in Argentina, lucky enough to be dragged through transforming cultures in Australia, learned English and a different way of thinking, ended up meeting at Three Jewels in New York City on my way around the world. And when my life was the worst, I bumped into these people. And that teacher began to peel off of the page these scribbles that are Tibetan letters, that are names for states of mind, names for transformation, and the wisdom of 2,500 years of human beings in Asia, in Tibet in particular, and in India, learning what to do with this human mind of ours, stuck in this body, in relation to yourself, and in relation to the mother and the brother and the father and the uncle and the community and the government and the warring, just like everyone in all time. But what do you do with this consciousness of ours? And I want to say this, because for me this space is for honesty and openness, more than I'm willing to do in a formal class when I'm teaching. Like, this is the concept of karma. It has 4 steps, and or a meditation teacher training, right? It was like, yeah, okay, shut up, let's get on with the next thing, right? I'm much more structured in those things, and I wanted to have the opportunity on Tuesdays to answer questions about 20, 25 years worth of practice. What is it like to grab ancient literature from other humans who have transcended some aspect of the human experience, maybe got over anger, maybe got over anxiety, maybe touched bliss in a sustained way that we all think we want but don't know what it looks like. Or maybe, just maybe, even more than all that. Yeah. So anyway, I know I'm rambling, but thanks. I want to invite you to consider whatever labels you're dropping on me. Yeah, that is really the essence of these teachings. Your mind is telling you stories about what's going on, and it's just a model. It's not really what's going on. It's your personal model of data that you're grabbing from apparently the outside, and then from the inside, these names and labels, just like those letters were peeling off from the Tibetan into the English, creating concepts in my mind and unlocking stuff in the 90s, when my holy teacher was spending all of his life energy, and his teacher before him, his entire life, dedicated to learning this stuff, putting it in themselves, and doing the work, which is a kind of discipline, a discipline I didn't have. For me, I stuck around because my life had turned pretty sour, and it was I didn't know anything else. But I was an ass to I was a bad student. Yeah, I wasn't just questioning because I didn't understand. I was questioning because you're wrong. As if I knew, but that's not right. And I really didn't know. I just wanted to fight, and I didn't want to be tamed. And it's taken me a long time to tame my own mind. And I hope, if nothing else, tonight you get a sense that there's work to be done. And please don't make it 20 years of fighting. Fight whatever you have to fight, because you're going to have to fight mostly your internal stories. But then there's rapture on the other side of the fight, always. There really is a release that seems bigger than the smallness from which you fought in the first place. I hope I'm not talking in too much code. Can I get a thumbs up if what I'm talking makes sense? And if you want lists, I can give you lists. Okay. At some point in these talks on Tuesdays, I want to share with you a way that I began to make sense of all these different practices from Tibet, Buddhist practices. And they love lists, specifically the line of the Dalai Lamas. They just adore it, and they're awesome code. And so I started making a list of lists, and I started with the list of one, and I put mindfulness, like be aware. Remember to be aware, list of one, and then there were lists of two truths, two realities, and so on, all the way up to 84,000 negative states of mind that we get to clean. But we don't do them one by one. There's a way to slash at the root, at least work on the top 10, from which everything else branches out. Yeah. So can I invite you? So that's a little weird welcome. I'm Hector, you're at 3 Jewels. I met this place by coincidence. It really was a struggle to be here, and I would not swap it for the world. Bless you. Yeah. I really wish, the reason I'm sitting here is I really wish that everyone has the opportunity to meet some wisdom where your mental code for wisdom unlocks, because you've got that. You see what I'm saying? Like similar to when I moved to New York and met 3 Jewels for the first time, and this holy monk was transcribing from the Tibetan into English, creating sentences that had meaning, and it was like, this is the literal translation, but this is a commentary on the practice, a very traditional education, which we still do here, and that's what Earl and Sarah do here on Thursday nights. They go through that very detailed translation that my teacher was doing back in the 90s. And I wish that too for anyone that's interested, but that's detail. So he was doing that and I was learning, and then there's the relationship to the wisdom, right? And that hopefully will awake something in you, your own wisdom. And the ways to get to your own wisdom, meaning your mind will pop up upon independence upon some scribble or concept or words from a teacher or words in a book or stories shared by a friend. Your mind connects to those and creates your model for that. And in that, if you know how to work your mind over time, you can begin to see how your mind creates a model that is ever more expanding. And then you know you're practicing something. But it takes effort. You have to get your face dragged on the concrete a little bit. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed concrete. Yeah. That's a little bit too scary. So anyway, back to the story. I'm Hector, you're at 3 Jewels. I need a bunch of questions that I wanted to share. Before we get there, I want to invite each of you, if you can, to go to your chat, and if you're here, I'll mute myself and we'll do popcorn. Just one main thing that brought you here tonight. Yeah, and as open and as honest as like, I really was interested in Buddhism, or I really want to know about meditation, or I really like that girl that sits in the corner over there and I want to hang out with her. That's him. Yeah. And if you're online, can I invite you just to he's like, no, it's the other way around. If you're online, can I invite you to go to your chat and just like a one-liner or something that says, hey, what brought you here? It might be a friend, it might be some wisdom, it might be a serious question. If you're a TA and there is a serious question, can you ping me somehow on my text is fine? Yeah, and then I'm happy to answer that. So that's Santi and any TAs. If you are a TA, feel free to put TA in your thing. Please, I'll give you 2 minutes to do that while I mute and chat in here. Enjoy. Santi, maybe you want to sort of say hi to the people in there and manage this space while I'm doing this. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. How did that go? And if you're around and you have your camera available, I would love to see you because I can see you, but I can't see them. Can I get a thumbs up if you got some nice recents? And can I get 1 or 2 shares from there? I'm not sure if we can hear it. Let's have a look. Santi, can you say words?
I love you, Hector.
Yeah, I can't hear. Yeah, I can. Mhm.
I love you.
I love you too. Can you share some of the things that came up for folk or invite folk to do?
Lots of folks shared that they're here for all the hot people, you know, their hot physical form, their hot, beautiful souls and subtle bodies. Some people are going through a tough time right now and really want to take refuge in hearing some wisdom that can possibly help. Some folks are new or haven't been to the physical 3 jewels in a while and are so grateful that there's this ability to tune in via Zoom and here to just be in community and discover wisdom and how to level up together.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It sounds similar to here. We had 2 people here for hot other people. They came just because they saw someone sexy and I think the sexy person knew you were coming, Richard. Yeah. Sorry. Just outing people.
They invite you.
Yeah. They invite. Okay. So we had that, but we also had, Neha, welcome, talking about what you just said, Santi, the reality of being uncomfortable, yeah? And having something to practice. We had community as well, and we had my mind is full of afflictions, negative states that I'd like to address. And then at the end, just before coming on, I said, let's see what type. And you described anger and jealousy as the 2 states of mind, right, that you'd like to work with. And then I was curious in the room, anyone else angry, deal with anger, and everyone put up their hand, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to get punched. Anyone else in here interested to work with anger or jealousy? So maybe I'm going to go get uncomfortable, learn the wisdom that through discomfort gets over the mental affliction. Yeah, I might do that just to address things. I had a slight different thing to talk about, but I think I can do that and then still answer some questions. Luckily, we get to hang out here. I'll be here every Tuesday. Yeah, so the conversation is just that. It's a conversation. And we get to step into key ideas. And I'm always going to connect it to a core idea in my training, in Buddhist training, the best that I can. But I'm going to try not to be formal about it. Yeah, I'm going to name the idea. And if you want formal, detailed explanation, go to Earl and Sarah on Thursday nights and they'll give you lists. Yeah, because there are lists and there are details, and the details are awesome. But for me, I think what's important, especially from what I heard here and in here, is what can I do right now? Because you have more power than you think. We walk around as if the world's coming at us, and it is. Yeah, maybe I'll cut to the chase because it takes me a long time to get to the point, but I'll cut to the chase. The world is not going to stop hurting you. The environment is hostile. Things will piss you off. First thing Buddha said after enlightenment, after being asked 3 times, oh, please teach. He said, no. But he's like, can you please teach? He's like, nah. I'm sure he didn't quite do it that way. He was probably more formal about it and go, oh, holy ones, no. Yeah. But they had to ask 3 times, and as a result, there's like a tradition. Before getting a teaching, you have to ask your teacher 3 times, at least in the Tibetan lineage, right? And I think it's connected to that. I don't know. Is it do you know if it's connected to the Buddha being asked 3 times to teach, and he said no the first 3 times? But the first thing he taught, which most people already shy away from Buddhist thought, is life is suffering. Damn. I wanted a party. I'm leaving, right? But he wasn't saying it as like, let's get depressed. He was saying it like a real doctor. Like he was saying, let's see the symptoms. There's a slash on your thigh. That is a problem, right? Life is suffering. Now, what could have caused a slash on your thigh? What could have caused, someone's got crickets. Can we mute the crickets? Yeah. So the first thing Buddha said, life is suffering. So me cutting to the chase is saying, if you think that there's something you can do out there to the world that will stop you getting hurt, angry, offended, disturbed, like all the negativities, you're fighting the wrong battle, because the world is coming at you. And so you either accept what is real, which is things are going to piss you off and you're going to get hurt. And if you recognize that, which was the Buddha's first words, life is suffering. But then he said, like a good doctor, he's like, that must have come from something. It didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't pop out of nothing. It's not like the constant state of your life either. It's produced. It's a produced thing. It's got causes. Something made the state of suffering happen. And we in the West, or in the modern day, in TikTok time, we get confused by thinking the stuff out there caused my suffering. We get confused that this cup of coffee, which didn't taste to my liking, because I'm on a stupid diet, not because of the coffee, right? Didn't have that thing that I wanted. Therefore, coffee is stupid. That's a mistake. Yeah? Buddha said, life is suffering. There are problems. Don't expect there not to be problems. That will solve a big chunk of your problem. Yeah? Not too much circle. Don't expect things not to be problems. That'll stop your problems. Life is suffering. But you don't have to stay in suffering. Something made it happen. And that therein lies the wisdom that understands where the hell is the suffering. Is it in the cup of coffee? Is it in the thing I don't like? Is it in the words you chose to talk to me today? And we can say really honestly, yes, partly yes. Yeah, if someone says, Hector, you're an idiot, Hector might get upset. Yeah, so that caused my suffering. Buddhists would say no. Yes, as Buddhists do. Yes, in that upon that interaction, I felt suffering. But if suffering existed in the words, Hector, you're stupid, anyone that heard those words would be equally hurt. Because it's in the words. So then there's some connection between us, the experiencer of the thing, and I'm going to summarize that as your mind, the stuff that is interpreting, that labeling everything, like we started, right? That part of you is actually where the hurt occurs. It's actually where the hurt is experienced. It's actually what's producing the hurt. So you can walk around. So that is, but that's hard to hear. Wait, I'm the cause of the stupid coffee? I didn't even make the coffee. And then you get more angry, yeah? And then get jealous that the other person has got the good coffee. Thinking that the problem lies out there, putting the blame out there, guarantees you more suffering. Cutting to the chase now, okay? Thinking, and we can analyze, debate, and talk about how difficult it is to practice that. Because it sounds nice here, wait till someone hurts you. Out the window, you hurt me. Yeah? It's true they hurt you. But where is the hurt? Under analysis, you cannot find any nature, any substance of hurt in that thing outside of you. And that is called emptiness in Buddhism. Things are empty of some power to force themselves upon you. That's sort of what it means. Yeah? And so it doesn't mean blank out and it's a magical realm of darkness, and like it doesn't mean any of that. It's a understanding, it's a wisdom. Emptiness and wisdom are synonymous. It's the same thing in Buddhism. To have wisdom is to understand the emptiness of something. What that means is, shit, the coffee didn't hurt me, but I was hurt. And your words didn't hurt me, but I was hurt. So you could be what's called a factor, a contributing factor, they call it in Buddhism. A contributing factor, but what was the real cause? Yeah, the cause of a plant is a seed. The contributing factors, the things that make a seed do its thing, is the water, the sunshine, the soil, all the contributing factors. Maybe I needed Spiro to say, Hector, you're an idiot, before my seed of I'm hurt arose in my mind. Is that making some sense to people? Yeah, good. If you stay with me, then we can apply this theory, okay? But the Buddha said life is suffering. To expect it not to be, sorry, you're just going to be in more suffering. And there's an explanation of how we cause our own suffering by misunderstanding where suffering comes from. The suffering was caused, and it's clear caused like a seed causes a plant, not conditions that allowed the cause to arise. You see what I mean? Causes need conditions. So maybe the conduit for my cause of being hurt was someone saying, Hector, you're stupid. Yeah? So that's the first two of the four Ariel truths that the Buddha taught. I'm just annoying one person in the room. They're called noble truths. You've heard them as noble truths, but the translation is Arya truths. Yeah. And for many years I didn't hear it correctly, and I called it Ariel. Yeah. Yep. Wisdom arose in 2019. Yeah. I'm okay. It's okay. I hope you're staying with me. Yeah, at least theoretically stay with me, because you can remove the great majority of suffering if you understand these 4 points and how to apply them. There is suffering. Pretending it doesn't, wishing it go away, wishing everyone else changes, wishing you did something different is just going to create you more suffering, because that's not reality. Fighting against reality will produce more suffering. Sorry, I wish it was better, right? We get wounded when people say stuff to us. And you can get wounded or you can get wise. You get a choice. But you don't really have that choice until you have wisdom. And that's my hope for every class at Three Jewels, is that we unlock some of that wisdom. That's why the core of what we teach is cause and effect, karma, and emptiness. The vacuum that creates the possibility for things to arise. Yeah. So expecting things to change outside of you will create more suffering. So if we can get past that barrier and just look at the suffering, Neha, it might be facing and leaning into discomfort. I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling jealous, I'm feeling all these things. And maybe before the feelings turn into actions and turns into an overwhelming experience and turns into this big thing that's already got too much momentum, if you can begin to watch how your mind begins to get slightly agitated, it's like, oh, she's saying that thing to me again, and here comes Diego with a coffee. You know, like, I wonder if it, like, your mind is beginning to expect problems, right? But if you have a wisdom that understands something deeper, you will not let that storm into an overwhelming experience of suffering. And really, it's about leaning into a little bit more suffering at a time, a little bit more, and you just expand and expand your capacity. And there are practices for quite advanced practitioners where you go looking for people that piss you off and go hang out with them, yeah? Just to see whether or not you can overcome that trigger that is so conditioned in us. Yeah, and I think it's in your course, right? The practice of going. Oh no, it's in Lojong, or is it to go searching for bodhisattvas to go searching for people that piss them off? I think it's in Lojong. Yeah. But imagine that, right? We're leaning into discomfort. Sorry, I've only done 2 of the 4 Ariel truths, yeah? Sorry. But I want to talk a little bit about the practice of that leaning into discomfort. What I think is really cool about the teaching that says leaning to discomfort a little bit, feel the experience, withdraw a little bit, but you've just expanded a little bit, right? Oh, I didn't get so angry. I didn't get so angry. And you take responsibility for your personal response to stimuli, yeah? And you can transform, yeah? Which is the third of the 4 iron truths, which is life is suffering. Suffering is caused, meaning your mind is producing it in your misunderstanding of the world. It can stop. It doesn't have to exist. Yeah, and there are techniques to stop it, and that's the 4th. Do these things and it'll stop it. So that's the 4 truths. But in practice, what I think is really cool, and over 20 plus years of trying these things to overcome anger as best as I can, jealousy, have jealousy, you know, I don't really have it like I used to really. In my 20s, my mind was way more wild than it is right now. It's still got some corners that are untamed, I admit, right? But some of the things that overran my mind are not there anymore. And it's really genuinely thanks to these practices. But I did take a bloody long time. You don't have to take a bloody long time. Stubbornness is one of my mental afflictions. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, even if it's good for you. The cool thing about the practice of leaning into discomfort, Neha, so I'm so glad you said it, is that it uses a natural mechanism of the human condition to normalize the discomfort. Yeah, we normalize everything we keep. What is it? There's some English saying about leads contempt. Something leads contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. Contempt. Yeah, it's like we're like, it's just that thing that used to piss me off. You see what I mean? It's like having the experience of slight discomfort over a repeated number of times. Our minds are like, I can deal with that. Yeah. So I like that about being brave enough to jump into the things that scare you. But not so much that you break. This is where you have to know your own mind, right? And some of us just want to dive straight in and do everything, and you will break. Yeah, you will break. So I advise, if you're turning on your mind inward, to understand what is it that's bubbling up. What is my particular flavor of life is suffering? And we all have it, right? We all have our own very particular flavor of your own suffering. And you will not see it when it's alive. Yeah, it's so assumed in you. It's you. It's your identity, right? Yeah, as soon as you get riled up about that thing and someone challenges it or something, it's very fragile, right? It's your who I am. Yeah? And these teachings can unravel that. These practices can unravel that. But my advice is, don't try and dive head into all of them at once. You will be overwhelmed, especially if you come to 3 jewels, okay? If you come to 3 jewels, we can do retreats, we can do meditation teacher training, we can do yoga teacher training, we can do workshops on how to get rid of this mental affliction, we can do 18 courses that take 7 years, and homeworks and quizzes and assignments. We can do vow ceremonies to make promises, like we do the Tibetan Buddhist thing in a modern context well. You come in here and for some minds, it could be like, I want all the candy. And you will break if you do it too much. So pace yourselves. And I think it was last week that I said, if you're going to practice something, choose one thing to practice. Was it make pizza? I think I said make pizza. Yeah, if you've got all these recipes, don't get the recipe for pizza and think, shit, Neha's got curry over there. I want to learn how to make curry. I'm bad at cooking because I can't make that curry. You know, like it doesn't correlate. You learned the pizza recipe, eat your pizza, like have a good pizza. Let her do her food and it's no problem. And later you can level up, yeah? And then you can get spicy food. What this means is incrementally work a practice at a time. And then you just really need 1, and if you're stubborn, 3, instances where you made an experiment in your daily life with these practices and you changed something and you're clear how that worked. That's all you need. 1, if you're normal, and 3, if you're stubborn. Experiments. And for me, that experiment was getting rid of the angry boss. That TED talk that you can look it up, Hector Marcel, How to Get Rid of the Angry Boss. That summarizes the very first time I sort of submitted my mind, and I'm like, I turned up to all these classes for a year or so, but I wasn't really doing anything. I was just listening. Yeah, and then I had a crisis, and I'm like, what if I do this in the crisis? And then, and none of the normal things were working. And then I'm like, I have to listen to the master of Buddhism, you know? And I was so annoying as a student. And you can tell the results of that by the people I have been. No. Sorry. Everyone who's a student of Hector is like, yeah, I know. Your practice is your practice. Begin with one thing. Yeah, if it's jealousy, focus on jealousy. No, don't do that, because then you'll get more jealous. Focus on undoing jealousy. Focus on the causes of jealousy. Learn the practices to overcome jealousy. There's plenty of people who have learned enough at 3 Jewels that I know you're friends with, you can connect, right? And it's not complicated, okay? Like, it really isn't complicated. All the practices are not complicated, but they do require a couple of things. A wisdom, and meaning an understanding of how jealousy arises, specifically for you, and why is it got that flavor of jealousy, or anger, or whatever the thing is, the main thing that stops you, right? And then what would have caused that, and what do I need to do, like an antidote to that, right? Because it's in your mind, it's not going to be out there. What can I do to my mind, with my mind, to rehabituate something that arises as jealousy? Yeah. And there are practices. And I said you need to understand some wisdom. Where does it come from? Karma. And why? Like, is it transformable? Emptiness, right? Does that experience have the potential to transform into something? It does. Yeah. And what do I need to do it? Karma. Yeah. Then learn 1 or 2 activities. We call them the 4 steps. Yeah. The 4 steps, and we'll maybe cover them next week. The other thing you need to do, I believe, for practices to actually work for you is meditate. Sit your asses down. You don't have to be a statue. Yeah, you don't have to be, I'm a good Instagram meditator. You really don't. You need your body in a nice, comfortable position. So comfortable that your spine elongated, like stable posture. So comfortable that you forget you have a body. You can really absorb your mind. Yeah, you can really like get so focused in this meditation, this experience of experiencing consciousness. And if you have a practice on unraveling jealousy, that could be your meditation. What is my meditation for? Finding the cause of jealousy, and what are the things I can rejoice in to overcome jealousy, and etc., etc. You do that for enough months. Sorry, it's not a week. It might be months, okay? Because you might have had a life full of jealousy. You ain't getting rid of it in a sit on a weekend, and you ain't gonna get rid of it that easy. Sorry, but you can get rid of it. You have to have some discipline, and that discipline is not about changing the world out there, because you can get wounded or you can get wise, right? And the way to get wise is shit's happening, and you look at your mind in response to that shit before it's steams roll, metaphor getting bigger. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you're going to take anything away from today, is meditate lets you get to know your mind. It doesn't have to be complicated. Come to any of the 3 Jewels classes. We'll tell you exactly how to warm up your mind, and then how to set in whatever object of your meditation you'd like. Yeah. If you've done the meditation teacher training, which I know some of you have, and Earl, who's here, you teach a lot here at 3 Jewels, taught the first 4 stages of the 9 stages of meditation, 9 natural steps that our mind our progress through a meditative experience happens, and you just need the first 4 to get there. And it's not hard, it's really simple. And you all have the technology. Like, where do you experience jealousy? Where? Yeah.
Here sometimes.
Yeah. Sorry. Now I'm gonna do. Did you all hear what he said? He said here sometimes, here at 3 Joules, right? Sorry. Now I'm gonna do actually no. But where do you personally experience it? Where is it? Where is jealousy when you feel it?
I just feel like here.
Like he's pointing to his chest.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a naughty story that I saw. It was a radio program in Australia that I heard. I think it was British. Do you know what I'm about to share? You do, right? It's probably inappropriate, so I will do it. It was like a game show, radio show, where they call the husband and then the wife, and they both have to give the same answer on a weird question. And she was about to win, I don't know, $10,000 or something. Yeah. And he said, what was the strangest place, the person asking, like, what's the strangest place you had sex in? And the husband had answered, right, that it was in the kitchen. And so everybody knew that it was in the kitchen. And some of you know what I'm about to say. No. And so you do, no. Maybe I got myself in trouble. And so she's like, I don't want to say. And he's like, it's $10,000, just tell them. And she's like, no, I'm embarrassed. What if people are listening? She's like, it's $10,000. And she said, in the butt. Right? So, not the kitchen, which is, so I think they got the money, yeah, because of the controversy. But, so Spiro, when I said, where do you experience jealousy? I wanted him to say the kitchen, right? Like in his mind, that's what the answer I was priming. And he's like, in here, you make me jealous. I'm like, okay, thanks. Sorry, that's why I said the weird story, okay? No other reason. Oh. So if you pointed right here at your chest, right? And it's interesting that you're there in Buddhist philosophy. This is the seat of consciousness. This is your mind is here. This is just your brain. That's just meat. Yeah? And if you study here, you'll get to learn a different way of looking at your mind body. Yeah? Because we all have a body, we know that. We all have consciousness. Mind, not brain. Brain is part of the body, yeah. But what is it that makes you aware? What is it that gives you feelings before you have a physical sensation about the feelings, right? And we get in our yoga classes, you get about subtle body practice. Like if you can begin to notice an energetic shift before your mind quickly labels an experience, shit coffee, sorry, yeah, or jealousy. Before that happens, if you really get to look at your mind-body connection, you'll notice prana moving, you'll notice chi, you'll notice a sensation arising. And if you're really good at meditation, you will see how your mind just labels that whole experience, and that experience does not have that nature. Yeah, the set of circumstances do not by themselves force jealousy on everyone. You made it, and that's hard to swallow. But I didn't do it on purpose. I don't want it. Get it out of me. Well, you can get it out of you. Life is suffering. It's caused, so don't get stubborn that everybody has to change and say words that make you not jealous. You see? That's fact. Anything other than that, expecting the world to change, it just locks you into suffering. And that's terrible because we should be agents of change in the world. Yeah, and so there was a question last week, how am I an agent of change in the world if things are empty of a nature? That was a really cool question. Can I, and not be judgmental was the question. And that's really cool question, right? If what I'm saying is true, doesn't matter if someone says, Hector, you're an asshole, I have the option to either, I got offended, and either act on that thing if I've got some control of my mind and mouth and body, right? Which we talked about last time, which most of us don't. And we talked last time, we can control our bodies. I can not punch you, but I want to in my head. And that's almost the same. You're just planting more seeds in your mind, if you will, for that negative experience to continue. If you're brewing about something and smiling, you're sort of making it worse also. Because you've got this kind of dissonance going on as well as the affliction. Yeah? So these practices really do help you go in there and go, if you can meditate, you will notice the affliction beginning to rise. And if you're expecting it, you won't be hooked by it when it comes up. My very first powerful meditation, meaning it did something to me, the first time I got some result from practice, was I meditated on anger, getting angry. Yeah? Because such and such a bitch did such and such a thing to me, and she's wrong and I'm right. And if this was true, then I can break Buddhism too. You know, I'm going to prove the Buddhists wrong because she is the source of my suffering. Life is suffering. She caused it. Was my test subject. But then they trained me, and I don't know why I am compliant. Like, I want to do it properly to break it. You know, I want to learn what you want me to break, and then I'll break it. I think if I was a musician, I would have learned classical music really well and then improvised. I wouldn't have jumped straight into improvisation. That's just the way I function. So in that meditation where I looked at anger, I had enough training, meaning I have to understand that logically it's impossible for words to produce my emotion. Hector, you're an idiot, or Hector, whatever I said, Hector, you're an idiot, does not cause anger. Logically, I figured it out when I wasn't angry, right? I'm like, if Hector, you're an idiot, caused anger, you would all be angry right now. If that's where anger came from, the collection of those things, yes, but it's got to be said in a certain way. It doesn't matter. If everyone heard her say it, you must all get, I am angry. It doesn't work that way. It appears to work that way, and that's the whole illusion side of Buddhism. That's what Buddhists say, life is an illusion. An illusion that she caused my anger. It's not true. It can't be true. Yeah? What is true then? It's true that she might have been a contributing factor for my mind to then label that whole experience, shortcut that whole experience, give me a simulation of that whole experience in my mind, not in reality, which is my reality, right, in my mind, and made anger arise in me. And if I know that to be true, which you can figure out pretty quickly, then in meditation, you just run simulations. When you're in a good mood, which I did, I just sat there and recreated that moment when she pissed me off. And I got angry. I got angry on the meditation cushion, and you will too. When you practice overcoming whatever the thing is that is hurting you, life is suffering, lean into it and look at it in meditation. Honestly look at it. Like, get yourself locked in a safe room. No one's going to come and hurt you. Yeah? Be really honest with yourself. Look at your mind for what it is. And relive a slightly traumatizing event. Not a big traumatizing event. Start small. Yeah? And lean into it that way. Invite the anger to come up. Not so much that you get angry. Right? And then you look at it and you're like, shit, there it is. Because the meditation for me was sit there, relax the body, elongated spine, do a little bit of breathing. I'm in the zone of awareness, like I'm locked in. Beginning was just the breath. You can all do that. If you don't know, come and do a meditation teacher training, right? Or learn from someone that you can get your mind focused. Attention you need, yeah? Everything else drops away. And you're paying attention, your body's forgotten, it's in the parking lot, and you're very present. You're not sleepy, you're alert. You're like sharp. And you're just noticing. Then in front of you, invite the scenario where you want to lean into and overcome an emotion. Let's call jealousy. What made me jealous recently? Hector's beautiful hair. I just want to say that there's people laughing in the room. And it's disrespectful. Yeah? People are nodding their heads. Yeah, no. I'm sure that wasn't it for you, but something, So then bring up the scenario, just a short scenario where you're certain you were angry or jealous or frustrated or offended or whatever the story was, yeah? And dare to look at it, yeah? And relive the scene. And I'm old, so I have VHS metaphors. Use, I don't know, whatever fast forward rewind button app you have. But I rewind the scene and I play slow-mo, yeah? And I try and catch the moment, the spark where my anger came. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, there it is. It's when she finished the words, Hector, you're stupid. Okay, rewind again, play the scene. I was outside, I walked in, words open, Hector, it's not there, I'm not angry, it's stupid. Bitch, there it is. Okay, I found it. And then that kind of game in your mind, you're just playing with your mental images, right? And inviting the sensation to arise. And a part of you, an awareness, is looking at that going, oh, there's the anger. You're just a scientist, you see? You're not the victim of the experience anymore. That already changes the game. Yeah? And you do that more, and you do that more. And eventually I could actually sense this sensation in my body about to be called anger. But before it was anger, it just was a sensation. It was a movement. It wasn't anger until my mind went on her face and on those words, my mind called it anger. And there's this classical thing, there's this motivational speaker lady who walks around and her main gig is feeling excitement and feeling fear is exactly the same thing physiologically. Right? So heart racing, you're like jittery, your mind's racing. If you remove all the mental labels and just look at the physiology, they're the same thing, she says. And she's done tests and that's her whole shtick. She stands on stage, she goes, look, anger or fear and excitement. Physiologically 100% the same. The only difference is what we name that experience. And so she then teaches techniques to try and override that, similar to meditation, but she does it like actively. Say you're excited, say you're excited. Anyway, don't do that on your meditation cushion. You might be freaking out the neighbors. Does that give you something to work with? Does that, yeah? So then just noticing that what you previously were hooked by, the onus of your life was out there. Her words make me feel terrible. His actions make me feel terrible. It might be true as a condition, yeah, as a secondary cause. But the main cause is your mind. Meditate, get to know it. But you need to understand wisdom, which is, do things have a nature? Is it possible that someone can really force anger to come out of me? It sounds ridiculous when you ask it that way. Get angry. Please get angry now. What do I have to do? If I hit you, would I get angry? If I push you, would I get angry? Something will trigger anger, right? But why didn't all the other things do it? At some point, our minds went, can't do it anymore, anger, right? And meditation slows down the tape, amplifies the tape. And imagine this, all the things that you put down at the beginning, yeah? Some of those things occupy 40% of your day in your mind. I don't know how much jealousy, when it comes, it occupies and changes the lens through which you look at life. But I invite you to imagine that a real meditation practice, like sit your ass down and take time to look at the stuff that's causing your reality. The movie player is in you. Go check it out. Don't call it, I am a good meditator, because then you're going to have that whole story about I'm a meditator, but I'm not leaning correctly. And just look at your mind and the thoughts that move through it. But get still first. You can do that. Yeah? Or ask someone to help you get that. Really, really, don't waste time. We're dying too quickly. Really are. Yeah? Don't waste time. If you've got a problem in your mind, jealousy, anger, frustration, fear, whatever. We all have them. Life is suffering. But don't let it continue because you don't know how to stop it. You can stop it, and it's not out there. That fight you can have with a different motivation, and there's teachings on that, but start the fight here. What if you were unshakable? What if you got rid of anger and jealousy, and that took a year? Let's say it took 1 year of your life, yeah? And it's not the only thing you do, but it's a regular sit or a regular journal investigation. It's your main focus, and you actually got rid of anger. You're no longer triggered by anger. What if that was really true? It's possible. If something is caused, if weeds are in your garden and you get all the weed seeds, not that weed, the other weed, yeah? Oh, I can match that weed. Okay, here we go. It feels like to be under the influence of misunderstanding, or the mental afflictions, you call them, anger, jealousy. To be under that influence is like being in a haze of too much smoking. Yeah, like I spent my early 20s in that haze for a few months, literally every day. And every now and then that haze would disappear when I didn't have enough money to go buy more weed. And then reality would become clear. And it was like, shit, you don't have enough for rent. Shit, you've only been having those sandwiches on the presser, on the Breville presser that puts the old spaghetti in the bread. And you need different food. So should I go get better food and go and get rent? No, I should go get more weed. Yeah? And so I spent a bunch of time doing that because it was familiar, not because it was good for me. It was familiar. And I propose that perhaps we're too comfortable with our mental afflictions. Oh, there's nothing I can do about jealousy. Bullshit. It's caused. It's like a plant. You remove the seed, you don't have to have it. It's possible. And let's say that it takes you 1 year. That's every year after that you don't have jealousy. And I can tell you the theory, but you got to do the practice. And I know, I'll go back to the beginning. It took me a long time to remove the resistance to taking responsibility for the stuff that goes on in my mind. But luckily, I stayed connected to this holy teacher who taught me all the stuff that I then got to practice. And I hope you find that for yourself. Either find a book, or find a friend, or come to one of the classes. They're free or by donation. Yeah. Or if you already have a teacher, just dive in. Or if you already have a practice, don't let it be normal. F normal. Yeah. F normal. Normal will kill you. I can't get rid of jealousy. You were jealous for 20 years. That's 20 years of shit. You could have 1 year of shit and 19 years of awesome. Yeah, sorry to focus all on jealousy, but any of the afflictive states, really, we have the power to. And is it worth it? 1,000%. It will make you better friends. It will make you better partners. It will make you better parents. It will make you better selves. Like, I don't know the first instinct you have when you look at yourselves in the mirror in the morning. I know for many of the people I talk to, and me included, that's not a nice dialogue. You know, my first words are, you fat bastard. Well, I'll make fun of, haha, fat bastard from whatever it's called. Austin Powers, yeah. Fat bastards. Stop laughing at me, Gian. Is that you? Yeah. But why can't I change that narrative? And I have. I've broken a bunch of that narrative. Is the echo still there? Absolutely. Does it grip me? No longer. But it took me 20 years. It doesn't have to be that for you. Yeah. I hope that helped. I think I've got a couple of announcements. I do. Last class for Asian Classics Institute, course 10. The Bodhisattva Charavatara, part 1 of 3, with Sarah and Earl. Awesome people. Who in here goes to that class? Can I get your hand up? Yeah, we got a bunch of people. Okay, cool. They mustn't understand anything. That's why they're here. Yeah, no. Joking. It really goes a layer deeper. You'll learn the functionality of what I'm just talking about. Why do things turn into other things? What can I do to actually amplify, speed up the practice? So if you go to the last class, people can pop in, right? This Thursday. And then is it continuous, the following? And then every Thursday after that? Yeah.
Take a week off.
Oh, except for 1 week off, but they'll announce it on Thursday. The other thing I need to say is these classes are free or by donation, right? So if you're a member, congratulations. Thank you for supporting 3 Jewels. We want to make enough money to pay for the space and actually pay the teachers reasonable rates for them to teach meditation, yoga, and the rest. But we're a non-profit. So there's a couple of ways you can support 3 Jewels. This class is really for free. If you can't afford it or you're going through a period, come anyway. This is why we're here. Yeah. But if you can and help those that might need a lift, so we can keep giving, not just here but in everywhere else. Become a member. There's a couple of membership options, or just donate on the night of class, and just don't just do it for the sake of putting money somewhere. Do it thinking that you're helping someone else get an aha moment for themselves. That's worth $10, $20, whatever you want to donate. I don't care. $1 is $1. We'll use every bit of it to do something awesome with it. Last year we gave away about $50,000 worth of scholarships or discounts to classes and a whole bunch of things. And really, it changed the lives of many people that wouldn't come to this space. And so we go out and teach there, or it gives access to people that might not be able to come here anyway, you know? So if you can do that, donate, become a member. There is this thing coming up in September. We're changing because we're doing more on in-person classes. We're about to double our classes in September in person. Our stuff will still be online as normal, yeah, free or by donation, but there is this thing, we're about to change the memberships because we're doubling the classes and doubling the number of teachers we're paying. And our top membership, which is $108 a month, that gives you access to everything, that's about to go up to $147 or something. But if you lock it in before the end of September, that sort of is a cheat and lets you lock yourself into unlimited at a 108 instead of 48. But nobody knows that because we only discussed that yesterday. So it's not a pitch for money, that's that. Become a member. And if you're interested, we also just opened applications for our meditation teacher training that starts October 1st. So if you want to learn, I know there's some people here who took the meditation teacher training. Can you put your hands up if you think it was terrible? Thanks. Hands up if you thought it was awesome, if you're online and you had a good time and you learned stuff, if you've done a teacher training. It really is a strong experience, but it's not for the weak-hearted. Is that fair to say? You will get invited to scrape your face on the concrete so you can help other people not feel that. Yeah, the motivation for pushing the teachers to a difficult experience, I think is worth it. Is that fair to say? It didn't feel great at the start for most, and then it's like, oh, I can really change people's minds and stop the suffering with just teaching them how to meditate. And that's my end of thing. Last thing, is there an announcement from the TA crew? I invite your questions. I answered a couple of the ones that came in last week, and I'll probably spend more time next week on your detailed questions. If you have difficult questions, please send them. There's a QR code. I don't know if you want to share that now, Sam, on the screen. It's up. You're so good. Everyone say hi to Sam and the team who helped put tonight together in the room and the rest. If you want to come in person, there's room. How do we do it? How do you check in? On Mindbody. On Mindbody Online, you can choose to be in person, and the experience here is good. When I knock off here, that's Australian. When I turn off the camera here, we usually hang out for about 15, 20 minutes, sometimes more, and have a nice debate. So I'm about to do that. Blessings to you. Thank you for even spending a moment considering the possibility that we can get rid of the garbage in our minds, and that will change the world around you. You will be the blessing that everyone needs, the blessing that you think you need, if you just knock off one of those afflictions. Bye everyone. Blessings. Thanks for joining. Nice smiles. Bye Nikita. Go to sleep. 4 in the bloody morning. Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks Gabe. Who's that? Thanks Melissa. Sophia, nice to see you. Hannibal, who's that? Oh, Danielle, hi. Rachel. Hi, Sparky, who's that? Sparky, nice. Maya, thank you. Hi, Sugling. Ninon, blessings. Thank you, Sam. Oh, bye, baby. Thank you, Mackenzie. Love all. Ha! Ah. She's so cute. Bye. Finally, she likes me because she's halfway around the world. Yeah. Oh. Bye. Bye, baby. Bye.